I think we can get started. It's past noon. Welcome, everyone. If you don't know me, my name is ANDRAS. Hello. Hi. I used to work at CTV, and then I moved over to DSI. So my office is just one floor down. I manage the data science master's program at Brown, and I also teach two of the mandatory courses for the DSI students. And as a hobby, I play around with ChatGPT, and this is what I will be for today. I have to start with a disclaimer. I am not a ChatGPT expert. I don't think many people should claim that they are a ChatGPT expert. I would say that only maybe the OpenAI developers have the right to say that they are the expert of ChatGPT. The reason is that ChatGPT is not open source. We actually don't know what is going on inside of the code. We don't exactly know how it works. We can just try to infer based on the discussions and interactions we have with ChatGPT. Having said that, I played around with the API access of ChatGPT. So I want to show you how it works and maybe help you get started if you want to develop your own applications. I have 4 learning objectives for this seminar. So I hope that by the end of this hour, you will be able to interact with ChatGPT in your development environment, whatever that may be. Jupyter, I will use Jupyter notebooks, but you can also do this in Google Colab or VS Code or whatever else you use. I will focus on 3 natural language processing tasks. I will show you how to summarize text, how to perform sentiment analysis, and how to put together a simple chatbot. And the magic of ChatGPT is that putting together a chatbot became super easy. Right? Companies used to spend years to develop chatbots, and they only worked kind of okay-ish. And now, within an hour, you can have your own chatbot using the API access. So that's one of the powers of ChatGPT. All of these NLP tasks, they can be performed without ChatGPT, but the development and testing might take somewhat longer, right? So ChatGPT can help you to speed up some of these NLP tasks. So first, some overview. GPT is short for Generative Pre-trained Transformer Models. You, as a user, give some text inputs, these are called prompts, and then ChatGPT will give you some outputs, some responses. That's basically how it works. Prompts can have 4 goals. You might ask a question, what is the capital of Hungary? And then ChatGPT will answer. You can provide detailed instructions to ChatGPT. You can tell it what to do, what not to do, those kind of things. You can provide some examples, how to successfully complete a certain task. And you can also provide some domain knowledge that ChatGPT needs to know in order to complete certain tasks in the future. These are the 4 different goals prompts can have. So it's a large language model. The kind of the simplest explanation for a large language model is that they are a sequence model. The basic goal is to try to predict what the next word should be in a sequence of words. That's it. These LLMs, large language models, are not really revolutionary. They have been around for decades, but we can use it on a large a large data set size, and that's one of the reasons I ChatGPT is so successful. The other thing is that LLMs were combined with reinforcement learning with human feedback, right? So humans were asking questions from ChatGPT, asking it to solve certain tasks, those kind of things. And then the output of ChatGPT were improved based on this human feedback. This is how it became, this is the other reason why it became so popular and so accurate when it was giving answers. There are 2 ways you can interact with ChatGPT. You can go to the website, chat.openai.com. This is probably what most of you have done before. It is a free service. If you pay $30 a month, you will have access to the ChatGPT Plus plan. Right now, that includes GPT-4 and a code interpreter. So you can upload a CSV file over there, and you can ask ChatGPT to explore it for you, implementation, scale of machine pipelines, once. So that's pretty powerful. The other way you can access it is through the API, which is mostly for developers, and developers can use it to build to build chat-based applications. And this is what I will describe today. This is token-based, so this is not a free service, but it's also not too expensive, right? You have to sign up, you get an API fee, all right, so credit card details, etc. I paid 5 cents to develop this code for the second one. So it's not too bad, but it's not exactly free either. I want to give you 2 warnings. Warning 1, ChatGPT is a third-party software. Everything you ask and the responses you receive are collected and stored by OpenAI. So do not disclose sensitive information, right? Brown's recommendation generally is that no level 2 or level 3 data should be shared with any of the AI tools that you interact with. So we have these 3 different security levels for data sets. I added a figure to show what exactly they mean. Level 2 would be things like the roster for classics, right? If that gets out, it's not the end of the world. It's just a bit embarrassing for Brown. Level 3 data should be anything personally identifiable. Would be people's salaries, for example, medical records, all this kind of. You should not share any of these things with ChatGPT because you don't know what they will do with it. You disclose that information. I would go as far as saying that if you work at a company and you develop any software which is not open source, right? The company must be confidential. You should not copy-paste code into that code into ChatGPT either. You are revealing business secrets. If you want to know more about these security levels for various data sets, I had a link in the Jupyter notebook. You can read more about it over there. But generally, be very careful what you share with ChatGPT. Everything you ask, everything, the responses you receive are all stored and collected by OpenAI. Warning number 2, ChatGPT is not reproducible. So let's assume you work in a hospital, right? And you poor doctors and you poor nurses spend most of their time answering emails of patients. And you want to automate this process, and you say, oh, I could just use ChatGPT as a prompt engineering to save some time for my doctors and for my nurses. That's all nice and well. The problem is, if you have 2 patients who have identical symptoms, they have very similar medical histories and very similar attributes. They have the same age, same grade, same gender, etc., etc. If they submit the same question to ChatGPT, it might give back different answers. And this is not something you want. This is what I mean that ChatGPT is not reproducible. Right? So for patient 1, it might recommend that they need antidepressants. And for patient 2, it might say you need just ibuprofen and sleep pill. Right? 2 identical patients, same symptoms, very similar medical histories. This is not something you want. You want to make sure that the responses are reproducible. There is a parameter in the API called temperature, which allows you to set the degree of randomness in the output. And I will show that, I will show in a second how that works. However, even if you set it the lowest value, which is 0, there is still no guarantee of reproducibility.
And that's because the ChatGPT model API is not static. When you go to the website, chat.openai.com, you ask a question. Next to every response, there's a thumbs up and there's a thumbs down. And that's the feedback the OpenAI uses to continuously update ChatGPT. And for that reason, the model changes over time. It's not static. So you have to be a bit careful about that as well. If you want your code to be reproducible, the response is reproducible, ChatGPT might not be the way to go. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay, then I move on to the next one, how to interact with ChatGPT in a Jupyter notebook. So first you need to install the OpenAI package, and you need to get an API key from OpenAI. And the instructions to do that are in the GitHub repository of this seminar talk. I store that API key as an environment variable using the .env package, and I just load it from there. So this API key only exists on my laptop. It's not in the GitHub repository. I'm not sharing it with anyone. That's usually a good way to go with this API keys. So I recommend you do this as well. Yes?
Oh, no, that's fine. Oh, right now.
Okay, all good? Okay, so .env, I use .env to handle the API key. Okay, and then this get completion function is a small function I wrote based on another online lecture I watched, right? And I expanded on it. I will give you the link to that lecture at the end of this presentation. But so this get completion function has a bunch of arguments, and I will walk through what those arguments are and how they work. So first with prompt. When you interact with ChatGPT, there are different roles. If a user asks a question, that question will be stored in a user role. If ChatGPT answers, that will be stored as an assistant. So ChatGPT's replies are always in an assistant role. If you want to give some instructions to ChatGPT, you as a developer want to give some instructions to ChatGPT, and you don't want your user to see those, you have to do that in a system. So these are the three basic roles that you can have: user, assistant, and system. This is very important if you need the chat history, right? If you're having a back and forth conversation between a user and ChatGPT, you want ChatGPT to remember what was discussed before. And in order to do that, that's why you have the roles and the prompts. Yes?
Why does it need to be a list?
It doesn't. That's just what I chose. It's anything is fine as long as it's a sequential kind of container type, right? So you ask a question, ChatGPT answers, and then you ask another question, ChatGPT answers. You need to be able to store the sequence of the conversation in some way. And I just keep appending stuff to lists. That's the subjective choice. You can rewrite it and do whatever you want with it. It's with an MIT license, so it's just no guarantees, modify it however you want, right? One nice example I give here is you as a user ask ChatGPT to tell a joke. And then ChatGPT will reply, why did the chicken cross the road? That will be in an assistant role. And then you ask ChatGPT, I don't know, why did the chicken cross the road? This is what you submit. This is the prompts list and the roles list. If you submit that and query the ChatGPT API, ChatGPT will finish the punchline of it. I will show you that in 1 second. It's one of the examples I have further down in the notebook. So that's prompts and roles. You will also see when I talk about the chatbot, that I will use the system role as well in that case. So model describes which version of ChatGPT you want to use. GPT-4 is already available. It has API access, but I think you either have to pay for it right now, or you must have spent more than certain amount of dollars with API access. I did not cross that threshold. I do not have access to ChatGPT-4 yet. That's why I'm using GPT 3.5, but you can change that as you want. So this is a temperature argument, which, as I said, it describes the degree of randomness of the model's output. For some reason, this is a number between 0 and 2, not 0 and 1. I have no idea why. Don't ask me that question. If you know the answer, then please tell me after the talk. I really want to know. I tried to look it up in manuals, and I just couldn't find it. I don't know why 0, 2. Why not 0 and 1? By default, I set this to 0, so I don't really want randomness. That's fine for most of the things I plan to use ChatGPT for. If you ask ChatGPT to write poems or essays or whatever, you probably don't want temperature at 0. You want some degree of randomness. I think that you don't want to get back the same poem or same essay every time you ask the same question. N is the number of responses, a number of completions to generate. If you use chat OpenAI.com, you ask a question, you will only get that one answer, right? With the API access, if you ask one question, you can get back as many answers as you want. You can get back 3 answers, 10 answers. You can change the number to what you want. So you could tell ChatGPT, write me a poem. You set N to 10, and you will get back 10 poems. If temperature is set to 0, you will get back the same poem 10 times. That doesn't really make sense. Then you want to change temperature to a somewhat larger number, and then you will see you will get back 10 different poems. And usually that's what you want. I also added just a verbose argument. This is just for myself for testing purposes. If verbose is set to true, I will print out the prompts and the roles lists, and you will see the output of ChatGPT is in a JSON format, and I will print out the whole JSON output as it is. By default, verbose is set to false, so I will not print out the prompts and the messages, and the responses of ChatGPT will be returned either as one string if N is set to 1, or a list of strings if you want multiple outputs from ChatGPT. Okay, so let's see if this works. Fingers crossed. Let's run. Sounds good. Okay, so this is our first prompt. The prompt is tell me a joke. And then I give this prompt as an input to the get completion function, and then we get back a response, right? I use the default arguments, so temperature is 0 and N is 1. I get back one joke. You know, the joke is, here's a classic one for you. Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything. It's so funny, right? And you can change things. So you can say, let's say N equals 3. I get back the same joke 3 times because the temperature is still set to 0, right? So I can change that too. I can say temperature equals, let's say, 0.2. Oh yeah, spelling temperature. There you go. And now you get back hopefully 3 different jokes. No, it's still the same. Okay, then we increase temperature. Let's make it 0.8. It's giving me the same joke all the time. Come on, ChatGPT, don't fail me. Aha, there you go. Yes. Why don't skeletons fight each other? Because they don't have the guts. Again, very, very funny joke.
That wasn't necessary.
Oh, sorry. Can you repeat that? No, I thought you have a question on Zoom. Okay. So as I said, the temperature is between 0 and 2. If you set it to true, sometimes weird things happen.
All right.
ChatGPT is really working very hard on this one. I hope I have access. Anyway, I just tell you, if you set temperature to 2, sometimes the responses you get back are complete gibberish, right? So you usually don't want that. Right, so you want temperature to be reasonable, and you want to make sure you check the outputs. Right? I have no idea what this is. Right? People say that ChatGPT hallucinates. I'm not sure that's the word I would use, but yeah, these kind of things can happen. If the temperature is too large, too high. But anyway, temperature one worked pretty well. So this is the example from the manual, right? We have 3 inputs and outputs. I asked ChatGPT, tell me a joke in a user role. ChatGPT asks me in an assistant role, why did the chicken cross the road? And then I tell ChatGPT in a user role, I don't know why did the chicken cross the road. And then if you give the list of prompts and the list of roles, then ChatGPT will complete the joke, right? Again, you can change n, you can change the temperature, and if the temperature is large enough, you might get back different punchlines for the joke. So far, so good? Okay. So let me see how we are doing on time. Okay. I think I will skip the text summarization because sentiment analysis is a bit more interesting, and I definitely want to get to the chatbot part. But the basic idea is I'm using a data set where patients submitted feedback on certain medications. And they have some sort of disease. They describe what that is. They might also describe what kind of medications they tried in the past, what worked, what didn't work. And then they will describe what was their experience with the current medication they are taking. Do they experience side effects? How do they feel, etc., etc. This is a rather large data set. I think it's 100,000 reviews. I only included the first 1,000 rows of this data set in the GitHub repository. We don't need the rest. So that's what I read in here. And file not found. What? Oh, I know. Yes. Yep. There you go. Yes. Okay. And so in the summarization part, if you go through the notebook, I selected the longest review I have in the first 1,000 reviews, and I asked ChatGPT to summarize it for me. And the way it works is I have a task for ChatGPT. I let them know the task is to generate a short summary of a drug review from a pharma site, summarize the review below, is delimited by triple backticks, and at most 30 words should be in the summary. And then I provide a review in this format. And prod review is the string I had above, right? So I tell ChatGPT exactly where the review is located. It can be in quotation marks, triple parentheses, brackets, and whatever. We just need to tell ChatGPT where to look and what to look for. And then give detailed instructions, and then it will generate a summary for you. product review. Oh, here, let's run this cell too. Right, and it will give you back a short summary. So this was the original review, pretty long, and it gave you back at most 30 words summary of that review. And then you can rewrite the prompt. You can ask it to focus on certain aspects of the review and see what happens. Right, so it's pretty neat. Sentiment analysis. Right, so again, let me just read this. Okay, so I select a different review this time. So this patient says, this medicine they tried completely turns my life around. I feel happier, blah, blah, blah. So if you read this as a human, you know that this is a positive review. With sentiment analysis, your task is to decide if a certain piece of text is has a negative sentiment, neutral, or positive sentiment. You can do this by these words, right? Return negative, neutral, positive, or you can also do it with numbers. If the text is very negative, that would be maybe -1. If neutral is 0, if very positive, +1, and you are interested in a continuous range between -1 and +1, right? There are NLP tools available to do that. They might need some retraining and tinkering around. You might probably spend maybe a day or two just to learn how this tool works. With ChatGPT, this task becomes again very fast, and with the right prompts, you can get it done in minutes, right? So I take this prompt, I take this product review and put it in a prompt. What is the sentiment of the following product review, which is delimited with triple backticks? And I add the product review down there. This is going to be the prompt that I give. I run it. The sentiment of the product review is positive. So usually you don't want a sentence. You just want maybe one word or one number. So you tell ChatGPT that this is exactly what you want. Give your answer in a single word, either positive, neutral, or negative. And then if you rewrite your prompt that way, it will just return one word instead of a whole sentence. As I said, you might also want a single number instead of words. You tell ChatGPT that this single number should be between -1 and +1, where -1 is negative, 0 is neutral, and +1 is positive. And you run this, and you get back 0.9. Yes, Paul.
Question in the chat.
Yes. Huh?
There's a question in the chat.
Oh, sorry, didn't see that. Can we get both the sentiment output and some embedding vector to be used for other tasks later? Yes, you just have to tell ChatGPT what you want, and then ChatGPT will provide. Hopefully. You should still test. You know, you should always test whatever algorithm you develop. So, one interesting thing here. Let's set n equals to 10. Oh, sorry, not there, in the get completion function. N equals to 10, so we get back 10 different numbers. Temperature by default is 0, so you will get back 0.9 10 times, right? If you change the temperature, hopefully spelled correctly, maybe to 1, the outputs will not be as nice, right? So you might not get back one number, you might get back a sentence. You might also see that the numbers are somewhat different. Sometimes it's 0.8, 0.72, 0.966. You might consider using these numbers as a way to measure some sort of uncertainty, you know, how certain ChatGPT is of this output. Don't do that. This is not a statistically rigorous way to measure uncertainties. This depends on the temperature. If I set the same temperature to maybe 0.1 or something, all the numbers are still the same. 0.2. You see some variability already. There is a 2.8 here. And if you keep increasing the temperature, the results will deviate more and more from 0.9, right? So this is not exactly a way I would calculate some model uncertainties. So be careful what you do. Another question in Zoom. Setting temperature to 0 ensures reproducibility until the next release. Until a certain amount of time. And it's not about releases. ChatGPT always changes based on the feedbacks provided by the users. So in an hour, I could get back a different output, right? I thought the inference process may change even if the model stays the same. The inference process. What do you mean by that? Let me type that in. Okay. Cool. So yeah, so this is a sentiment score. Yeah, go ahead. Question.
Yeah, it's something you should ask manually. It's already, if it's too large, you get configuration. So we don't want that. I would usually keep it one or smaller. That usually is a reasonable answer. But then what you need between 0 and 1, that depends on its cost.
How is the online version of AI?
I think they have a preset value. Again, it's not open source, so I have no idea. That's the honest answer. But it's not 0, right? If you ask the same question over and over again within seconds or so, if you ask it to write a poem about your dog or pet or whatever, it will give you back different poems. So it's definitely not really
What that was in response to Daniel's. Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, this was a sentiment score between -1 and +1. You can also use ChatGPT to identify emotions other than just return a sentiment score. Is the writer of the following review expressing anger? Give your answer as either yes or no. Right? And the answer is no, which is pretty correct. Right? So
you can look for you can make a sentiment on the small sample, right? And you can look for certain emotions as well. You can again rewrite this and ask ChatGPT to give you a single number, the level of anger that this patient expresses. 0 if the patient is not angry, and +1 if the patient is very angry, and it will give you back a single number instead. So you can also measure anger on a continuous scale this way. Sounds good? Yep. Okay. Develop a chatbot. This is fun. Okay. So let's assume that you work the pizza restaurant. They are very popular. They get lots of calls for online orders or online orders as well, but they get calls as well. So you want to automate the process of taking these orders. Right? And you want the chatbot for this pizza restaurant. And that's another thing you can do with ChatGPT. The first thing you have to do in order to accomplish this task is you need to tell ChatGPT what to do, right? What is it that we want it to do? And that is done in a system role. So this is the first time we see a system role. So the system role is a message to ChatGPT only. It gives instructions, and the user doesn't know exactly what these instructions are. So I tell ChatGPT you're an order bot. You're an automated service to collect orders for a pizza restaurant. You have to greet the customer, collect the order, ask if it's for pickup and delivery, collect the entire order, summarize it, and check for a final time the customer wants to add anything else. If it's delivery, ask for an address. If it's for pickup, tell the customer that the address is 172. So you tell everything that you want ChatGPT to do
while it interacts with a user, right? And you have to also provide a menu, which I do down here. We have these pizzas. We have large, medium, and small sizes that is somewhere described up here in the system role. We have extra toppings. We have AI sauce, which is nice. So that's a nice touch. And then you have different drinks as well that the person can select from. Yes.
Is there a reason why you said it was an order bot? Does that have any particular connotation or is that just?
Yeah. You want to take orders, so you can call it order. You can name it Steve, but ChatGPT doesn't care.
Right. So we have to provide all the domain knowledge ChatGPT needs to know in order to take the orders and manage the orders. Right. And that's what you do in a system role. Right. And then I use a while loop. I don't know how many interactions ChatGPT will have with the customers, so I cannot use a for loop. While loops are a bit dangerous, so I want to count how many interactions there were between ChatGPT and the user. And what I say down here is that if the number of interactions is 100, then I want to stop that while loop. If in 100 back and forth conversations, the user couldn't place the order and something went wrong, and I don't want to talk to that user anymore. So I want to exit the while loop, right? So order pending is the Boolean variable set to true. While order pending is true, ChatGPT will keep interacting with the user on the website, right? I call get completion. I put in prompts and roles. When I start the conversation, I only have one role, the system role, and one prompt, the domain knowledge I provided. And ChatGPT will get back a response, which is ChatGPT will greet the customer, right? And it will ask, what can I do for you, or something like that. And then I ask this from the customer. I show the customer the message. Customer will type in an answer. I will save that as a user role, and I keep appending to the prompts and roles lists. Right? I append here ChatGPT's answers and also the user's responses. Because ChatGPT, while it's talking to a customer, it needs to be aware of all conversations that happened before. So the prompts and the rows lists will get longer and longer as a result. So what I also told ChatGPT here is that once the order was taken, it should say goodbye to the customer. And in a check here, if goodbye is in ChatGPT's response, I print out the final message. I will not ask for a user input anymore. I change order pending to false. The order was taken, and then we can complete the interaction with the user. Right? So let's try it. Fingers crossed. Okay. Oh, wait, what? Opa, I need to run this one first. System. Pending input. Oh, I see. Oh, I screwed up. Let's stop this. Yes, I need to run this cell first. And now we can start the pizza. Hello, welcome to our pizza restaurant. How can I assist you today? I'd like to order a pizza. All right, what kind of pizza would you like? We have pepperoni, cheese, and eggplant. I would like to have a cheese pizza, please. What size would you like for your cheese pizza? We have small, medium, or large. I'd like a large pizza. Got it, one large cheese pizza. Anything else you'd like to add to your order? No, thank you. You can leave the typos in. ChatGPT will do just fine. Just to confirm, you like one large cheese pizza. Is that correct? Yes.
What happens if you ask it something totally unrelated?
Try it. It's fun. I don't want to break my chatbot, but you can, of course, ask questions, silly questions. Is this order for pickup or delivery? Let's do it for pickup. And then ChatGPT tells the address, 123 Main Street, which was in the message of the system role. Is there anything else I can assist you with? No, thanks. Your order from one large cheese pizza confirmed. Total is $10.95. So we gave the price as well. If you look up the table in the system prompt, you will see that is actually the correct price. How would you like to pay? Let's say credit card. And then please provide me with your credit card information. You should not do this. There you go. There you go. There you go. Thank you. It said goodbye, and there is no more possibility for a user input. Right? So the conversation was completed. One more thing, ChatGPT knows the order, but I want to share this order with other systems. Right? Maybe I want to share it with the cooks in the kitchen, something like that. You can add one last system message. And you can tell ChatGPT to create a JSON summary of the previous order. And the fields should be the pizza, including the size, list of toppings, list of drinks, list of other sides included, and the total price. Right? We want to collect the order in a JSON format. ChatGPT still has the whole message history, and this will be the output. Right, nice JSON format. You can share it with other systems. And we know we have a large cheese pizza, $10.95, and then you can send this to the. Right, that's it. It was less than an hour. It's pretty nice, right? And of course, you can change the system role. You can have your own teaching assistant, for example. This is what I plan to put together maybe during the summer when I have a bit more time, right? A kind of a teaching assistant, online teaching assistant, which does not provide you the correct solution rather than trying to lead you or teach you the convert system prompts in order to do that. But it's super easy. It costs some money, right? By running all of this through, it was a fraction of a cent, so it's not, you know, a lot of money. But it's not exactly free either. If you use it with a large number of customers or wherever, the numbers can scale up pretty quickly. Are there any licensing issues with using ChatGPT in the customer-facing role? Any thoughts about best practices in curating the user input to ChatGPT for user privacy concerns? Yeah, all of these are really good concerns. Again, as I said in the beginning, you should not reveal any sensitive information to ChatGPT. Like asking for the credit cards info was bad. And you should not do that, right? Okay, that's it. Just a little demo of how the ChatGPT API works. I hope you liked it. So I told you there's a prompt engineering course on deep learning AI. I recommend you watch that if you want to learn more about how to use the API and how to develop good prompts. You have a question?
So I was wondering for the application, this kind of like, you know, would it be like expedite that process and harness the capabilities of the application to like speed up maybe and top up your restaurants?
Yeah, that's the idea. I mean, it took me less than an hour to get to this point.
Yeah.
And a couple of years ago, companies spent years to develop a chatbot, and most of them were crap. Right? And now you can put them together in like half an hour. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, as a developer, you still need to.
Yes.
And in order to specify the constraints, or again, credit card and chatbot.
Yeah.
Like, what would some sort of, how would you kind of like?
Yeah. So you have to test these,
right? If you want, you can like create a memory check. You can say like it already set the C something for it's always shooting in different that's not really different patterns but know that basically, you can tell that the two numbers slash there's a number, yeah, and that the first one is your one is well, because you're already color in the future. You can give kind of that's the constraints.
And that was like your own photographic writing for that. Yeah.
Yeah, you just type that in the prompt.
Yeah.
It's not actually code. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that case, I would add all of the tests you want just in here, right? When you ask it to ask for the credit card details, you describe what the numbers will affect. You describe how many digits you want. It's not that again. I think you can write it out all of them.
But just the other teams like it's so I feel like it would charge
Yeah. But I think that I would try
that's where we did purposefully give you a but why do you have to get it like
I think it's the ground. And then
but I think they're gonna take it to a point where it only takes. It's not only to do. Yeah, they check on so I think they might not speak about it as they but I don't think that
No, no way. But you mentioned like the variety.
Why is my service now?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's a weird question.
But again, like OpenAI has on that.
Not plus, so, but, if you want source, you can try your own chat.
Oh, yeah, they only provide that much to ChatGPT.
But like, even if no, but I mean, that was fun, but what about like, insurance goes out, one vacation, you know, there and check. I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah. All of that, ANDRAS, all of that. That's just something.
Yeah, there is, but it's this not talking on
Yeah, yeah, dude, crazy, man.
And then you need to decide
Well, yeah, that was. Yeah, but once again, I don't think that.
Yeah, it's nice.
I kind of said like. An hour early.
I put this together.
Wow.
I watched that like early ends, but the conversation. Last time.
Okay.
Oh, it's pretty yeah.
Yes. I think it's like, it's like just like, before you even burn it. Oh, I mean, I can start. It's a pause before.
Never done it this place.
No, it's like,
Doing it.
well, all the hours, I have twice a week, twice. It's like 2 hours a week.
Did all the challenges.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute.
And then.
Or.
I always, yeah, I'm not, I kind of very process, but I go, well, yeah.
Yeah, I feel comfortable doing that when I'm in head lunch or I'm just like, we're all thinking.
What is it? Yeah.
And I'm like, I haven't thought of me. It's so many weird.
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah, I want this to be a shot. I don't know if that's not good. Yeah, right.
Feel pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, so he has a bunch of.
Oh,
Whole new
oh.
Yeah.
I
And it's.
am. Next off.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like. No.
It's recording. Nice. Someone asked if the meeting, okay, yeah, I didn't even notice.
Meg sets it up so it records automatically.
Okay, nice. Okay,
Thank you so much. That was great.
yeah,
This
nice.
is like the best turnout we've had too, I should say.